Welcome to our channel. Inside Eden's star-studded fight for survival Ana de Armas, Jude Law, and more on their wild new thriller. Ron Howard's new movie investigates a near-century-old mystery by plopping a bunch of decorated actors on an uninhabited island and seeing what happens. One of them calls it the scariest thing I've ever done. Here's a scene in Eden, Ron Howard's wacky survival film premiering Saturday at the Toronto International Film Festival, in which Sydney Sweeney gives birth in a remote cave surrounded by wild dogs. It's the early 1930s, and Sweeney's Margaret Whitmer, a German housewife who's relocated with her husband to the uninhabited Galapagos island of Floriana, cannot find a single soul around her when her water breaks. On the days that Sweeney shot the scene, the temperature hovered around 100 degrees. The performance verges on feral. She got it, Howard says. It was raw and she was all in, just like her character had to have been at that moment. The strangest part of all of this, the scene, like the film as a whole, is based rather precisely on actual events. Eden was shot in Queensland, Australia, but Howard spent weeks traveling around the Galapagos for research. He found the actual place where this birth took place. You look at the cave, and you can't imagine anyone endured this, but it happened. Viewers might be forgiven for assuming that Eden, written by Emmy nominee Noel Pink Genius, is a work of fiction. Its characters are outrageous. Its story is bizarre, start to finish. But Howard has been compelled by the tale of Floriana's settlers since he first heard it 15 years ago on a family vacation. After exhaustively researching and examining contradictory accounts, he figured out how to make a movie about it. You'd be shocked at how accurate the movie actually is, he says. What was chilling about this story is that a handful of people went there and half of them either died or vanished, and that's intense. That's like a season of Survivor where people really don't make it. The story begins with Dr. Friedrich Ritter Jude Law and his wife, Dora Vanessa Kirby, living in total isolation, having built their own home and tending to their own garden and animals in an Emerson-esque self-reliance utopia. A German philosopher obsessed with Nietzsche and Schopenhauer. Dr. Ritter is ostensibly working on a manual for a new way of living, embracing his status as King of Floriana, as covered extensively by the international press. But the fantasy is punctured by the arrival of Margaret, her wide-eyed husband, Heinz Daniel Brühl, and their young son, Harry Jonathan Tittle. As the two units learn to coexist, along comes another group, led by a self-proclaimed heiress known as the Baroness Ana de Armas, with two seemingly obedient hunks, Felix Kammerer and Toby Wallace, by her side and available at her every whim. So begins a power struggle for control of the island. When you meet these characters, they're offbeat, even eccentric. Kind of funny, you don't know what they're going to do next, Howard says. They're certainly unpredictable. And yet, as that pressure test intensifies, they actually become dangerous. You really do wonder who's going to prevail as they strive to try to redefine themselves in this place. Society comes with you, Howard continues, because society is about human beings. Howard has worked consistently with larger film studios over decades, but to relatively mixed results lately. His most recent film, 13 Lives, was a superbly executed ticking clock thriller developed under MGM, but a planned theatrical release was scrapped after Amazon bought the company and took the movie straight to streaming. I think it was shameful what Amazon did, the movie's star Viggo Mortensen recently told me. Before that, Howard helmed the poorly reviewed 2020 biopic Hillbilly Elegy for a project that has earned enduring backlash, with its subject now Donald Trump's controversial running mate. Vance's prominence has actually boosted Hillbilly Elegy, which depicts the VP candidate in positive terms, back onto Netflix's most-watched charts. Look, I don't want to say a lot about it. The film is what it is, made 5 years ago. But I will say I am surprised and disappointed by the rhetoric that I'm hearing, Howard says of the VP candidate. We have to do our job as citizens and really think about it and go out and vote. It's not about some movie maybe 5 or 6 years ago. It's about what's happening today. Go out and vote. participate. Thanks you for watching. Stay connected with us for more videos.